What's up guys, and welcome to Void of Dust Gaming, your channel for fresh Arena of Valor content. Today I want to have an in-depth discussion about TEL'ANNAS, one of, I would say, the most constant marksman or markswoman out there in the game. She has always been doing good. Sometimes she's doing great, and we are going to check out what are her farming strategies, how can you avoid ganks, what is the perfect team composition, how does her build look like, and all these sorts of things that are important to know about a certain hero. There's another thing that is actually quite new about this video today, and you will have already seen that I put some highlight reel at the beginning of the video, and the rest of the video is going to be trimmed down from 18 minutes up to about 10 minutes or something. And I am urgently asking you to rate this. Is this the future of this channel? Is this something that you like to see even more in my videos? Is this basically good, putting down all the information in a shorter video? Are you actually here to see the whole gameplay because you can't see that on other channels? Or is this something that you would like to see more often, as I said? So put it down in the comments below and indicate it with the likes if this is something that is actually quite pleasant to watch. I don't know about it because I haven't asked before, but I saw that most of the other videos out there are a little bit shorter, and therefore I'm going to try to shorten my videos a bit. So this is the first attempt, and I'm really curious about your reaction. So I would say let's go and have some discussions about TEL'ANNAS, shall we? Alright, so here we go, and as I said, this is going to be a little bit trimmed down. So it might actually be something that I need to train a little bit, because things are going to be a little bit different. Okay, let's start off with what you're going to see in this video at first. This video is going to show how strong a team composition around TEL'ANNAS and of course Errol and all these people actually is, because as you guys are going to actually witness, is that the enemy team is just pushing us down at the beginning of the game as hard as they can. It was not fun at all. They had the perfect early game composition, a lot of strong mages. They've got Raz, they've got Vera, they've got Yue in there, so we were under constant pressure, and as you can see, it is already 4 kills in for the enemy team at about 2 minutes. So they have been pushing us really hard, beating us wherever they could. So my strategy at this point was try to avoid the ganks, but unfortunately, as they've got shitloads of crowd control, it was actually quite difficult to execute. But of course, it was more sorts of something that you should pay attention to. If you are ganked all the time, if the people are there all the time, what you are going to do, and I didn't do it right in this situation, and you can see what I'm going to get for this is you are going to play a little bit more defensively. So the tower is your best friend to avoid ganks, especially at the beginning of the game, and you know that they've got a strong gank composition or a lot of strong initial damage dealers. For example, Yue is someone like that, or Raz can deal shitloads of damage with just one single spell. You should try to stay next to the tower so that you can be protected by the tower, and if they want to gank, you can try and get some tower shots on the enemies just to kind of get them some repay. So this is something that's really important if you want to avoid it. If you happen to have a lot of gankings, you might even want to ask your jungler for some certain protection or some additional protection if you just realize that the enemy jungler is there all the time. And of course, with TEL'ANNAS, you've got something really special. Basically the only mechanic that you get against the enemies to avoid damage or to avoid a gank is you've got Flicker, which is a talent that needs a little cooldown, and you've got your slowdown and your control spells, which are basically something that you have in your arsenal anyways, and you are going to see how to avoid the gank from Raz here. Here we go, and I killed him, but of course that it was just too much to bear. But that was something where I think we tried at least a little bit to avoid being ganked here, and the result so far is devastating. 6 versus 12, but we're going to turn it around, and I think this video is a really good showcase in order to show you. So the next important thing is, now we know how to avoid gangs, or at least we know the theory, because I didn't execute it too well in this video. The second thing is you're going to focus on farming, because if you want to get back into the game, positioning is key, so you should always be a little bit behind your damage dealers that are frontline dealers. For example, Greg, here we go, another kill, thank you for 200 gold. So now I need to pull back a little bit. I'm now always trying to get Grug between me and the enemy, at least in theory. Didn't really work out the way I wanted it to, and now he is going to be in. Okay, we do get at least 100 gold for that, so it's 300 on a kill and an assist. So you want to focus on farming and making money, and money is coming either from minion waves or from jungle creeps, when your jungler tells you that it is okay to farm on. Most of the time when your team is under pressure, your jungler will be under pressure too, which just means that you can't really take his or her farm, because that is just going to put one of the most important members of the team down. Most of the AD carries, and TEL'ANNAS is another good example because her passive is just plain stupid. It's 8% damage increase. You don't need to focus on mechanics, on any tools or something. It's just 8% damage more. Most of the AD carries are going to be stronger in the late game as they would have been in the early game. It's just something that is actually quite self-explaining, as you guys are going to get more equipment, and more equipment means that you're going to deal more damage. As you're not focusing on any kind of defensive mechanisms, it's fine. Everything is going to be good. Just wait a little bit and try to farm the hell out of everything. If you can't farm the hell out of everything, try to maintain just some towers. Try to defend them when you're sitting under the tower or next to the tower, and just hold at least the inner circle and just farm the minions that are going to approach. TEL'ANNAS has one of the most broken ranges in the game if she is going to use her first ability. Therefore, your first ability is the one that you are going to maximize first. Afterwards, of course, your second, and your ultimate comes in whenever you reach the certain level where the ultimate can be leveled. So this is basically a no-brainer. Your first ability is your bread and butter, and you're going to use it every single time that you need it. You can just do that. That's how easy TEL'ANNAS is to play. It's basically working around a spell that is going to increase your range, and then it's just auto attack straight to the face of the enemies. Because she is so limited in terms of movement, and her spells are actually just range extenders with a little crowd control on top of it, what you want to have around your team and your team composition is actually someone who can either block damage or incoming damage and get you into crowd control resistance moves. For example, Chogna would be a good explanation. He's got the crowd control himself, and he can remove crowd control effects, so that's a good buddy, and he's quite tanky. Grog is a good example because he can pull enemies in, so if you're standing behind him, you can make good use of your full range as well as your spells, which are even helping him to execute his ultimate even better. So Grog is another good example that works fairly well with TEL'ANNAS. Thane is good if the Thane is able to move something around. Arduin is great. Basically, Tel works with all the heroes that bring a little bit crowd control to the board, but that they are tanky as well, because you don't have any movement shenanigans. You can't do movement things unless your flicker is up, and therefore you need someone who's able to block incoming damage and push enemies away from you so that you can act a little bit more freely. And that's basically it. I would say true tanks are good. Richter is not a good example because he's going to kill most of your targets if the Richter is actually going to be kill greedy. I would say I don't really like mages such Alice and Saphira. I mean, Alice can shut things down, and she got this little nice S1 where she's going to stun enemy targets, so that might be actually quite handy. But I see a true tank with some crowd control abilities, and in the very best way, some crowd discontrol abilities, if that is the fact. But you know that we don't really have that much in our hero roster. I think Shogunai is basically one of the few examples here. Crush is another good one because he can be quite tanky, so he's soaking up the damage while you were standing behind. I wanted to get this double kill quite eagerly, and therefore I ported in here just to enable my team to get to the final core. 15 minutes have been already played, and you guys can see that we now turned the tide of the battle completely. Being on a 2-9, we're now sitting on a 24-23. I've got my 7 kills already, so I'm doing about a third of the overall kill thing here, and you guys are going to see that I've got about 1/3 of the total damage in our team damage chart as well, and this is going to be showcased at the very end of this video. And here we go. This is the last big attempt to get into the enemy range. You can see that we get another kill here. Here we go, 8 kills right now, and I played a little bit stupid at the beginning of the game, getting a lot of ganks in. I should have played a lot more defensively, but I just wanted to show you that you can turn around every single kind of game. It's just important to know when to start battling, and this was the late game for us because we just needed to get into this. I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of video format, so tell me in the comments below what you think about it. Have a pleasant evening, stay safe, stay healthy, and best of luck. Bye bye.